So they found Shelley Winter Show live, local, topical, and relevant. They have 5 dead in San Diego mosque shooting, including the two teen suspects. And they're calling it a hate crime. No, I haven't heard anything. If anybody's heard anything, I haven't heard anything on the identities of the shooters. We'll keep you abreast of that as the night goes on. Sad story. 5 dead, including 2 teen subjects. So 3 dead, 3 innocents dead in a mosque shooting in San Diego. I want to read to you this story. And let me say this. I get asked the question all the time. When are you going to denounce? I don't know if I ever will. I'll just keep being critical, but I don't know if I'll ever denounce, if you will. But I'm closer, to be honest with you. I'm closer, especially after the 500,000 Chinese student visas and selling farmland to China. Now comes this. President Trump, 2 of his sons and his family business had argued in the case that the Internal Revenue Service should have done more to prevent a former contractor from leaking tax information. The Trump administration announced on Monday the creation of a $1.8 billion fund to compensate those who claimed they were targeted by the Biden Justice Department and Democrats, forging a pipeline to funnel taxpayer money to President Trump's allies. Here it goes on. The highly unusual anti-weaponization fund, denounced by critics as a political slush fund, was unveiled just after Mr. Trump withdrew his lawsuit demanding at least $10 billion against the Internal Revenue Service. It was an apparent effort to skirt oversight by the judge in the case who had expressed concern that the suit represented self-dealing between the president and a department run by his former defense lawyer, Todd Blanche. And it goes on to talk about it. $1.8 billion. Our taxpayer, our tax money. Now, I'm going to just simply say this. I'm going to leave that story there. And if tomorrow, Election Day, we don't see massive Election Day turnout from Republicans, this will be one of the many reasons, but one of the many things to point to say, hey, I kind of can tell you why that may have happened. Now, if we do, we do. I don't know. But I know only 13.9%. There was only 13.9% turnout in early voting, and Democrats were 55% of that. So Republican turnout is low. Now, a lot of people are saying, we usually turn out on Election Day. Okay, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I hope it goes well for us. But if it doesn't, and I don't know that it will or won't, but if it doesn't, but if it stays the way early voting went, if it doesn't turn out well for us, I'm talking in terms of turnout, it'll be because of stories like this. It'll be because you visit China on a big important trip that everyone's touting as a great trip, and you come back and say, yeah, 500,000 Chinese student visas is a good idea because they want to be like us. Huh? I couldn't imagine Joe Biden saying that. Heck, I couldn't imagine Barack Obama saying that. Like, I could imagine them saying it, but I couldn't. I know what the screaming and yelling would be about. I would know. It'd be all over the internet right now. If Barack Obama or Joe Biden or Kamala Harris were president of the United States, went to visit President Xi and came back and said, "Oh, you know what? We're going to get 500,000 student visas and let Chinese students come here and study because they want to be like us." I can only imagine what would be being said on conservative talk radio, on Fox News, and on the internet. It'd be outrage. It'd be almost like I don't know, someone. I don't know. Oh, I know. It'd be almost like someone cast an African supermodel as Helen of Troy. It would be that level of outrage. But I don't see anything. It's like everyone just, I'll just ignore it. Maybe it'll go away. I don't know. I'm concerned. I'm concerned that the people who would say they're patriots are not doing anything patriotic. are not saying anything loudly and clearly when it's something I know they're against. I know you're against 500,000 student visas being issued to Chinese students to come here and study. I know you're against that. I know you're against American farmland being sold to the Chinese. I know you're against it. Why do I know you're against it? Because you told me a year ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, 5 months ago. I know you're against a $1.8 billion taxpayer dollars going to victims who were targeted by the Biden Justice Department. I know you're against that. I know you are. Because that's your tax dollars. You're against all. Back in the fall, what's this, May 18th? Back in, I don't know, October? During the first shutdown, remember? We were against poor people getting welfare benefits. Remember that? We said they needed to work. That's what we said. Your neighbors. We were against people who took out student loans, and the last president said, look, you know what? We're just going to, erase the student loans. We were against that. You made an agreement. That's my tax dollars. So I heard that. I remember. What if I took out a loan for a truck from a bank? They wouldn't take away the loan, which is a completely different loan, but we won't go there. But I know we're against it. We're against our neighbors who may be down on their luck getting food benefits and welfare benefits and being able to feed their children. We're against daycare funding. We're against pre-K funding. We're against these things during the shutdown. Do you not remember that? Now you're not going to say anything about a slush fund of $1.8 billion? And at the same time, you're going to tell me, I'm not in their cult. No, I think for myself. I do my own research. I just want to, I literally want to just throw my hands up sometime and just start, just screaming at the top of my lungs. I really do. Then I listen to talk radio and people talking, and I'm like, well, huh? What? And they spin it in such a way that it sounds right. They take you back into history. They tell you find some obscure law that was in the 1800s, and not many people know this that I'm about to tell you. And then you come on and you say, yeah, this is why it's allowed, like you thought of it. $1.8 billion. And no one's batting an eye. But in October, when the shutdown started, or whenever it started in the fall, we didn't want poor people to get welfare. We didn't want schools to get lunch money. Not with my tax dollars. Now you're okay with this. It's just Shelley Winter Show. We'll be right back.